Hey, good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning back into the channel. Much appreciated. And got some really good tips for you guys today. I'm going to show you guys my secret offshore post-spawn #1 favorite bait of all time that actually I learned from Aaron Martens. So I'm going to share with you guys some of the things Aaron's learned from me. And the thing about Aaron, if you guys know him or been around him much, he would be just awesome to have a YouTube channel because he doesn't hide anything. He tells everybody what he's doing. He always has, ever since I've known him, and I've learned quite a few tricks and tips about him on this particular setup I'm going to show you today, in addition with a lot of other stuff in that same lure category. So we'll go over it. But a couple of real quick housekeeping tips for it. First of all, just wanted to remind you guys, if you get a chance, go on and check out fishthemoment.com. We're starting to pump out our new summer map lake breakdowns, getting a lot of them up on the catalog there. In addition to that, we have our personal lake map breakdowns. We'll create maps for if you got a 50-acre lake up to a bigger lake, we can create maps for you guys. And then check out our upcoming virtual seminars we're having on fishthemoment.com, as well as the videos. Just a lot of good content for everybody to check out there. And also just wanted to do my weekly reminder on my own channel that I'm offering memberships to the channel. It's a great way if you'd like to support what I'm doing here. I'm including extra videos for everybody next week, extra videos every week for the members that aren't available to the public, including stuff like my email address to answer your personal questions. And you can go to my channel and just click on the About tab and there's a little thing that says Intuitive Memberships. And also some people may have like a Join tab. So if you guys would like to help support the channel, that's one way to do it here. So anyway, let's get back to my secret offshore post-spawn #1 bait technique, and that is the 1 ounce scrounger. Here's the 1 ounce scrounger head, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit about how I rig this up, because a lot of it has to do with rigging on it, and a little bit about where I fish it. First of all, I'm going to give you guys a little story about how I learned about scroungers from Aaron Martens. Aaron was the person that made scrounger fishing famous, and scrounger fishing is not just limited to the big ones like this, the 1 ounce ones. They come anywhere between an 1/8 ounce up to 1.5 ounces. And I've used all of them, and I've learned a lot of stuff from Aaron about it. And one particular trip, him and I were out fishing, and we were out on the lake I owned up north of west of Lamar. I had a 40-acre lake up there, and Aaron and I'd never fished a scrounger before. This has been years ago, and Aaron and they'd never seen a scrounger on the lake that I had. So he goes, "They're going to bite a scrounger here. We're going to go out and I'm going to catch them on a scrounger." So Aaron went out and he started out like with a 1/4 ounce scrounger with a like a pearl colored trailer. Fished that for a half hour with nothing. Switched up trailers and everything. He downsized to 3/16, put different trailers on it, nothing. This went on for a course of a couple hours. He still hasn't had a bite on it. Finally, he downsized to a little 1/8 ounce scrounger with a little tiny swim bait on it and started whacking them. So he showed me how effective this thing was. And later videos, I'm gonna do some on all different sizes, but today specifically, I'm gonna talk about my offshore setup that I like to use during the post-spawn, which we're in right now in a lot of parts across the country, and we're gonna be getting close to getting there here soon. So what we got here is this is a 1 ounce scrounger head. I think you can get these at Tackle Warehouse. I'll include the Fish the Moment Tackle Warehouse link in the description here if you guys would like to order some. It helps Fish the Moment out, helps Johnny and I out. And contrary to popular belief, guys, I know I come across as this anti-technology, anti-electronic, shallow water bank beater, but I'm not. I have fished offshore extensively. I've won a lot of regional tournaments around this part of the country fishing offshore. I've won a lot of money across the country on the Bassmaster Circuit and the FLW Tour fishing offshore. I can fish offshore. I just don't like to do it, but I can do it. And I'm going to share you guys some stuff about this. Is my favorite one to use this time of year. I'm going to rig it up for you guys, and then I'm going to show you a little bit and talk to you a little bit about where I fish it and the rig I set up. So anyway, there's a couple of different things I do. Sometimes later in the summer, I'll tie a jig skirt on the thing once in a while if I want a little bit more bulk to it. But in the post spawn, I found out that I like a straight swim bait trailer. This is my favorite trailer that I use with it. This is a Megabass 5-inch spark shad. I'm going to rig it up and I'm going to show you a little bit of a modification that I do with it. One of the things that's really critical, guys, is when you rig up a scrounger on a jig head, you have got to get the thing perfectly straight and you've got to get it perfectly level, because if you don't, the bait will not work right. So from that standpoint, you got to really take some time and get the thing setting up on there just perfect, where it's completely level across like that, completely centered in the middle. So here's the setup when I got it down. But what you want to do here is this spark shad, you can see it's pretty wide across the back. So you have a lot of meat right here that you don't need. So what I do is on this is once I've got the thing set up, I want to take and I'm going to trim back some of the meat section just around the hook here. And the only reason I do this, it doesn't have anything to really do with how the bait looks. It just has to do with getting me a better hook set. You know, when those fish take this bait in there, they just don't have quite as much plastic that they have to deal with. So I'll take it down just a little bit, about like that. You can see it. So I've got it set up like that. It looks like a big gizzard shad. So the next thing I do is I take my chartreuse pen, and I use a lot of different colors. I mean, this isn't the only color I use, but I'll use a lot of different, you know, color variations. But this is one thing I found, it doesn't matter the color that I use, is I take this chartreuse pen and I'll go down the side of it, just a little bit like that. But see that little nice chartreuse hue there, depending, you know, based or compared to the back side there. So go through there, color up the side, just a little bit of chartreuse makes it look really nice there. So this is my setup right here, which is pretty easy to do, you know, once you get in there. I've tried a lot of different swim baits on it, but this Megabass Spark Shad is my favorite. If I'm fishing really deep water with it, like, you know, over 20 foot, sometimes I'll use like a Zoom Fluke on it or something that doesn't have a paddle tail that creates less drag. I can get it down a little bit deeper, but that's the setup there. The equipment that I'm using on this is you want to use, most of the time I'm using like a 7-foot medium heavy bait cast rod. I use Megabass makes one called the Perfect Pitch. It's 7 feet 2 inches long, medium heavy action, and I'm using it usually on a 17-pound test Seaguar Vizex line. That's my setup for it. But you can see here, this is a big bait. I'm trying to get something to compare it to here. Again, here's a Zoom Horny Toad next to it, so you guys can sort of see the size comparison. 5 inches long, so it actually, with the head on there, it's close to a 6-inch long. That's actually probably over 6 inches long bait. Just resembles a big shad. So I'm fishing this thing on just your typical post-spawn deals, just your typical post-spawn structures. The two different structures that I found the best are basically off the point ends and sides, and any type of river channel ledge lip that you have. If you're fishing any of those TVA lakes where you've got all the pure hard river channel ledges or the creek channel intersections, I'll throw that thing out there, let it hit the bottom, and I'll just sort of slowly reel it across the surface. I mean, across the bottom, just, you know, trying to crawl it across the bottom really. You know, sometimes I'll speed it up a little bit to get it up off the bottom, but most of the time I'm just crawling it across the bottom. Not really dragging it, I'm just working it, you know, enough where it's close to the bottom. It doesn't have to be hitting the bottom, but I like to keep it within a foot or two off the bottom. And that way, you know, it gets the purpose of the scroungers, it gets this thing going sideways, back and forth like that. That's the strike attractant. So you want to reel it fast enough where you've got that action. And you can reel it alongside the boat and you can get a feel for it. Sometimes on this thing too, you can take the bill here and you can work it a little bit like with a pair of scissors to get it to, you know, work a little bit harder, a little bit tighter. Second thing I like to throw it on man-made lakes is, like I said, off point ends and sides. In the post spawn, you're going to find out that these fish like flatter points. So if you're fishing a lake like Lake Hartwell in South Carolina, or Lake Norman, you know, or Lake Douglas, you can get off those clay and gravel points and catch them. The same here in the Ozarks, you can get off those flattered, you know, small rock pea gravel type points and catch them really good too. But this is a bait that works really good in late May and June. It seems like once I get later into the summer, like July and August, I don't do as good on the scrounger. I go more to the football head jig and the big worms that time of year. But for me, when those bass start moving deep, like with what they're getting ready to start doing, or they're already started in some parts of the country, my two big weapons are not only a big crankbait, a big deep diving crankbait, but this big 5-6 inch scrounger. This is a big bass catching thing. It's subtle, it doesn't telegraph itself. It's a bait that you can come in behind other people that are like throwing Carolina rigs or the big crankbaits, or you know, jacking a spoon or whatever, and catch a lot of fish behind them. If you guys fish any of the TVA lakes, you know, Pickwick, Chickamauga, Guntersville, all that type of stuff, this is a key bait. So anyway, I'm going to be doing some more post-spawn offshore stuff coming up, believe it or not. I mean, you know, like I said, Johnny and I go back and forth. You know, he's the offshore guru, I'm the shallow water guru, or I'm a shallow water angler. But just like Johnny can still catch them flipping bushes, I can still catch them off the bank too. And I'll share with you what I've learned from fishing off the bank for over 40 years. Because I was fishing off the bank before GPS or before mapping or before any electronics. I mean, I'd get out there and I'd idle around with my flasher and my paper map, and I'd find offshore structures and catch them before most people were even doing it. So I'll share with you guys the experience I've gotten that. So anyway, give it a try. Just go get on there, Tackle Warehouse, get you some of these big scroungers, and let me know how it goes, man. Let me know how you guys do on it, and we'll be back soon with another tip. Much appreciated. Talk to y'all later.